Welcome to The Exclusive. I'm your host, Sharon Tharp. I've been talking to winners all season long. Feels like this season never ends, but I'm really happy this guy agreed to come chat with me. He's currently starring on the Traitors Canada, which I'm really enjoying. And I'm very excited to introduce winner of Big Brother Canada 5, Kevin Martin. Kevin, how are you?
Hello, Sharon. I'm really well. I'm doing really well. We've been trying to do this for a while, and it's cool. Only winners invited on the show. Wow, what an honor! Like, it's still a little bit of when I consider that I won a reality TV show. I'm like, oh yeah, that actually happened. That was a real thing. So no, this is gonna be great. We're gonna deep dive into tons of subjects, and the conversation will flow. I'm really looking forward to this.
Thank you. Yes. Okay, so obviously you're on the Traitors right now, but for the people that aren't maybe not watching for some reason or just know you from Big Brother, can you give us a little bit of a life update? I know you're playing poker again. What's going
Totally. Whew, life update. Well, you can see the setup I'm in right now is a little bit thrown together. I'm in the middle of moving. I just left a 9-year relationship with a lovely woman. And, that's interesting. So I'm single, I guess. I'm out there. It's so crazy. Life's crazy, right? Can I swear on the show?
Yeah, go for it.
Life's effing crazy. No, I'm blessed. I got a great life, a great career. I wake up every day excited. I live very intentionally. I live an intense life. And I love it every single day. I've been blessed from where I've came from. And it's kind of cool that my evolution as a human has kind of been shown on these reality shows. I did my first Big Brother at 22, 25, now the Traitors at 30. And people are like, you can see a full evolution of a human being. So I'm so good. Thank you for asking, Sharon.
Amazing. Yeah, I know. Let's get the obvious out of the way. You and Peely recently announced that you're separating, but you guys are clearly still really close. You guys hang out still.
Yeah.
Whatever you're comfortable sharing, like, what's the update? How are you guys doing?
We're both doing really well. And I saw Peely the other day. We watched an episode together, and, this girl's thriving. Like, what a beautiful spirit. And, people think, oh, the relationship ended. It's a failure. No. We came together, emotionally evolved, financially, career-wise, just as humans gained mental resilience. And we really poured amazing amounts of growth and love into each other. And just recently, a bunch of things happened that it's like, okay, we're both going to go separately on our own paths. And that's a beautiful thing. And, relationships, I think, can be a little more fluid than people think. And we've gotten a lot of online hate, and there's accusations, and it's all lies, Sharon. It's all lies. It's crazy to see what people have come up with. I have created an environment where I'm not receptive to that energy. I have people that handle my social media. I create content, but in terms of DMs or Twitter comments, I really don't see anything, and I think that's better for it. And but we're both thriving, and like Peely has a bright future ahead of her, and so do I. So F you haters, you don't know what's going on. We're living our best life. Isn't that weird that people will be like, where do you get the time, man? Life is so short. How do you get the time to like be involved in reality TV relationship like this to write these awful things? But yeah, that's a quick little update. And, we're going to be best friends for life. Like, it's all good.
I love that. You guys are like the model. This is like the model breakup or split. I mean, people just want drama. That's what that's what they want, but there is none. So it's kind of nice to see. I mean, also I have to imagine I'm not on television, but it has to be weird when you go through like a big life change. Like, you feel like you have to announce it. Is that strange for you? Like, you're like, oh, you have to.
I've been in front of cameras my whole life, so I'm a little more accustomed to it. And part of the way I knew I was going to make my career coming up as like a 20-year-old is like, oh, I can do this. I can be in front of the camera. I can be vulnerable, and there's massive career opportunities here. It's just the path I chose. So there is a little bit of territory of like uncomfortableness that comes with that in terms of strangers. But I'm good. People 80, 85, 90% of people are great. They're like, it's all very positive feedback, and people are happy for us. It's just the sliver of loudness on the internet that can sometimes overpower. The internet's a wild place, but I'm so happy to see how well Peely's doing. Like, I saw her in person, and she's physically glowing. She's finding her next level of individuality, and her business is thriving. She's helping so many people in the fitness world. Like, I'm so proud of her.
That's amazing. I love it. All right. Well, people need to chill. I mean, the internet, for your own mental health, you'd have to take breaks because it's wild out there.
I've seen so many, like, you know, I don't look at the comments, but I ask a couple of my friends, like, what are people saying? And like, you know, you cheated on her, she cheated on you. There was a baby involved. You're having a baby with someone else. You're actually gay. Like, you're into men. Like, all these theories are out there. It's just like, it's so funny. It's wild. No, it's been a very beautiful mutual split up. Like, we're living.
I love it. And then in terms of, like, I know you're traveling a lot for poker. Is it like when you're traveling, do people recognize you from Big Brother and do they come up to you, or is it now mostly just poker people so they don't really know?
It's always a mix. It's crazy. It's funny. Traitors is airing right now, and I think the show is epic. Very few people are talking to me on the street. It's still more Big Brother, poker. It's a beautiful mix. Like, I would say it's about 50-50. But yeah, I'm deep in the poker world. I'm traveling around playing big money games, and I actually filmed another poker reality show. There was one in Korea. There's $500,000 up for grabs. There was some serious money compared to, like, you know, I'm not going to lie, these Canadian shows are a little bit cheap. I mean, I love them. I'm not going to, come on now, 100K Canadian, was this going to pay your rent for a year and a half? Like, I understand we're on a budget, but we need a little more prize money for these things, I think. Shout out to Canadian reality TV. Yeah. Schedules booked, traveling all over the world. Exciting stuff.
I love it. And I do want to talk about the Traitors, but I have to assume it wasn't a money thing for you either. Like, you had to, I'm assuming you went on the show because you also just, like, love these kinds of games.
Totally. I love these kind of games. And do you know what it was? Do you know what exactly why I went back to the Traitors? I won Big Brother Canada season 5 at the age of 25 years old. And the win was amazing, but there's so much that went down on that season that never sat right with me. Oh. And it was I didn't watch the show for 2 years, Sharon. So that I win the show, I'm like, this is my dream. And it was so painful. I had so much pain and trauma from it and self-growth. Like, the show is very exposing. And when I watched that season, I'm like, okay, this is me. There's elements of me I like, but I didn't like a lot of what I saw. And I was like, this isn't the final version of the person I want to become. So as a byproduct of Big Brother, a couple other, like, life traumas and stuff, I've really been on this quest lately, the last 3-4 years, to absolutely push myself to the highest level of, you know, growth. And that includes emotional growth, spiritual growth, physical growth, training my body, training my brain. And I've hired, you know, some of the best emotional healers in the world. And I've been on this quest to really find this upper tier of myself. And I really feel like it's been working, and I've made amazing personal growth strides. And that's one of the amazing reasons I went back to the Traitors, is like, I got to go back. I got to go back one more time. I got to show people this new developed version of myself. And when I watched the Traitors, yeah, I'm fucking loud. I'm arrogant. I'm out of control. Like, I understand it rubbed people the wrong way. But, like, I'm so proud of the version I am on that show. Like, it makes me so happy. I'm like, dude, I was just like, I'm confident, and I'm in there, and I'm playing hard, and I'm not backing down from people. And I'm like, I'm really so blessed to have this Traitors experience, and I'm really proud of myself for how I did on it.
Yeah. I mean, it's also just fun to see someone who, like, it seems like they're just enjoying it and, like, playing it up for TV, but in, like, a fun way, not in, like, a fake way. I don't know. I mean, I'm enjoying seeing you, and especially, you know, this week's episode, I was like, Kevin's got it. He's going to be good. And it's nice to get tripped up a little bit, hear your name thrown out. It's fun to hear that.
Totally. So. Absolutely. I have to be careful with how I answer these questions because the show is still ongoing. And I like talking a lot with the fans. I like being, you know, I was a big reality TV fan. But yeah, this last episode, you can see me like I think Mary's a traitor, which was obviously wrong. And that's very bad. If you make a hard read like that, that can really screw things up. But I'm still in there. One thing, you know, they don't really show the social dynamics on the Traitors as much. There's just not enough time. First of all, they need like a 90-minute episode. There's so much they cut out of the show, Sharon, and it hurts me. Like, so many of these characters are underdeveloped. It's because they've given characters like me a shit ton of airtime, which I appreciate. I mean, that's obviously I love that. But like, you know, Melissa A was fighting with people. We didn't get to see that. Dominic had interesting storylines going on. We didn't get to see that. They underdeveloped Crystal. Leroy, man, this guy played such a good social game, and he was so true to himself, and we haven't really seen that. So The show is really good, but it's hard to live through that experience in real life and then see the final product. And I'm like, oh, they're missing so much. They're missing so much. But yeah, what a wild experience the Traitors was. Whew.
So you had no hesitation doing that show?
No, it was the craziest thing. They phoned me and the casting producer, and I asked a few questions, and in my heart, I felt like I needed to do it. It wasn't about the money. It wasn't even necessarily about winning for me, because I've got those things. Like, I was called to this experience, and I got profound things out of it, Sharon. I don't know how deep I'm going to go into it, but
I love this.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what? I got to share this side of the story. So, Big Brother Canada season 5, we're near the end of the show, and we've been in this house for 60 days. And, I'm battling Ika and Karen and Dimitri's, and like, we're going to war. They respected me as a competitor. I respect them. There was one defining moment that I have to tell you about. Ika and Karen at the end of the show come up to me, and these two ladies, I always respected them. I really did. They had the massive capacity to be they were really cruel at times and out of line. And I've had this conversation with them they're wild individuals, but they had a conversation with me where they're seriously like, Kevin, like, as a friend, we think you're carrying trauma in your life, and you should take a look in the mirror and do some self-reflection about your emotional status, your emotional intelligence. And you should, like, they said this, and it kind of like shook me. I've never really had someone say that to me. But then I took a deep breath, and I looked around, and I was like, oh my God, they're right. Out of the 16 people on Big Brother Canada season 5, I had human moments. I had connections with like 3 of them, maybe 4. Like, I had no feel in there. I had no feel. I had bad communication skills. I couldn't listen to people. It was as if I was a little numb to the world. And I realized this. And so post-show, I won all this money, and I really invested in my emotional development and, like, therapy, meditation, self-help books, multiple spiritual leaders or whatever. And I've just like poured my time, energy, and money into my emotional self, because I realized I was lacking, and this was going to affect the rest of my life. And it worked. It worked, Sharon. And I had to go test this on the Traitors. And I had a moment. I'm 4 days into the Traitors game, and I just like, I look around at these beautiful people that are in this environment with me, and they're not all my types of people. You know what I mean? Like, Dominic chain smokes cigarettes outside, and he's like a construction worker. Like, I'm not like this dude. Even someone like him on this show, I went down and had human connection with and human moments. And I 4 days into the game, I looked around, there's 20 people there. Oh my God, I just started crying. I'm like, I have connected on a human level with almost everyone here. And they see me as a human, and I understand them as a human. And there's this beautiful level of connection. And I honestly felt like a winner at that time, because it just showed that, like, the intentional steps I've done in my real life have yielded the fruit. And I just, like, it's unlocked this next level of confidence. I'm like, I feel unstoppable in my next level of life with these new skills, with this new gift. Like, yeah, so that's a little bit of a behind the scenes of my experience on the Traitors as well. It's beautiful. I loved it.
I love it. It's very positive, very inspiring. I'm into it.
Yeah. And the whole story arc can be seen in my, like, reality TV television career. It's so crazy.
It is wild. And also, like, all under 30 years old. That's, like, pretty impressive.
Thanks, Sharon.
Yeah. So in terms of, like, because I know you like to prepare for shows, at least to some extent, was there any preparation for this kind of show?
Totally, yes. I did watch the U.S. season. I reached out to some of those alumni as well and had some coaching calls. I like preparation. I looked at the missions, and the missions on these shows were super lame, by the way. Like, yes. Oh my God, can we cut these things? Like, who's making this decision? I don't know what paper's being signed behind the scenes, but as a creative person, I make creative content full time. You gotta cut this bullshit. I'm sorry. They're so lame. They're so lame and repetitive. And once the shield gets introduced, I like perk up a little bit. There's an interesting game mechanic there, but like for the most part, these things are snooze fest, and it hurts me so much. So much good social content's being cut out, and the missions are just like dragging it all down. But I did prepare in that way of like, I really talked to some alumni about the show and I really got some good insight. Yeah. So I did do some preparation, but not as hard as Corey as I did for Big Brother.
Yeah. Any particular person you can say, or you want to keep it vague?
I'm going to keep it vague just because we're already like maybe crossing some lines out there. Yeah, I'm not going to, but you know, US show alumni, you can maybe guess.
Yeah, I got you. Well, also like going to the show, I'm guessing, I'm not asking specifically about pre-gaming, but I'm assuming you knew other reality TV people would probably be on the show.
Yes.
Were you worried about the threat of having a BB win under your belt? Were you thinking like, how am I going to work with these other reality stars and navigate that?
Yes. So when I stepped in, there's nothing I could have done to come in with a low threat level. It's just impossible. I'm a very public professional poker player, and I'm a very public Big Brother Canada winner, and I've had a really good reality TV career. So what I was hoping was that the full cast would be full of like big dogs, like big names. I wanted all of the crazy cast people to be there. And when I showed up, I was a little disappointed. I saw Erica, I saw Kuzi, I saw Miss Fierce Delicious. I wasn't familiar with Miss Fierce Delicious, but we had a very electric dynamic on the show. But to be honest, there was a lot of normal people, and like, you know, I love normal people, great. But in that environment, that just made me stick out even more. And I knew I was in a tough spot. I could feel it, Sharon, right away when I was talking to everyone. I was like, hey, my name's Kevin. I introduced myself. And you can just see, you can get the energy when they look at you. And they actually show it on episode 1 where I'm talking to Corinne. I'm like, Corinne, I'm worried. Like, I literally am this dead man walking. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I can sense the energy of the people. I was like, but I'm going to try. I'm going to fight. So that was a big obstacle to overcome. And as a byproduct, I had to play really hard out of the get-go. Because if I just sat there with a big target on my back, I was going to get either banished or murdered in the first couple rounds. So I'm like, okay, I'm here. I want to make good TV. I'm going to play way harder than everyone. And you can see me just launch out like a rocket, which was pretty fun to play at that pace.
Yeah. Did it change that when you were a faithful? Like, had you planned on a different strategy if you were a traitor, or were you like, let me just play it the same?
So they wanted to make me a traitor. They really wanted, and they were shocked. They were just like, they looked at me and they're like, Kevin, like, you should be a traitor. And I'm like, I know, that'd be so fun. But I just felt like my purpose there, I really went to like socially connect and like prove to myself that I've leveled up in that way. I felt a calling, again, a primal calling, that I really wanted to play the game as a faithful. The faithful are the underdogs. You don't have many tools as the faithful in the game. You're kind of just like a less powerful player. And watching the other shows, I always got so mad. People were playing the faithful role so badly, I always felt, and I just wanted to be like, I can do this. I can show kind of the blueprint of one way to approach this game, and I felt like I did a really good job of that. Oh man, Karine was so good. She was so electric, the way we bantered and stuff, and what a great host as well.
Yes, I love her. Also, something you mentioned even just like this week, which I find interesting and which I've thought about, but it seems like faithfuls don't tend to think about, is you want to be friend. You want to find out who the traitors are and be their friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
So can you talk a little bit about that? Because you mentioned it on Monday.
Yeah, I'll try to sum it up really quickly. The show presents the game as good versus bad. The good people need to vote out the bad people to win, right? And that is the main components. But there's another level. Like, this game is very popular. Werewolf, Mafia, Among Us. This game has exploded. It's amazingly popular. In all those formats, if you get the bad people out, the game ends and the good people win, right? That's not what happens on this show, because the budget is massive. They need the end game. They need the fire pit at the end. That is never good. So they have this mechanic where if the good people are doing well and they get the bad people out, the bad people have unlimited lives. It's like a video game. They'll always respawn. They'll always recruit or blackmail. So it doesn't matter if you get the traitors out. I'm sorry. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. It matters about survival. You need to get to the end. No matter, at the end, traitors will be there. So yeah, I was always really into the meta of it, and I was always terrified of getting murdered. I was really scared because that's such a brutal way to go. You just kind of get plopped out. And I knew I was all like, look at the turrets. They're always talking about whether they should murder me or not. I knew that was going on. So I wasn't sleeping very well. And yeah, I really wanted to identify the traitors and then keep them close to me and make alliances with them. That's what I did with Mary. Unfortunately, she was a faithful. Man, that was a really, I really thought she was a traitor. I really thought she was a traitor. And then like Gerline was my top ally. Leroy was my top ally. And they're like they thought as well. So I'm like, okay, let's just go with it. And it turned out to be a bad read. But shout out Mary. She looks great on the show.
Yes, I love it. Well, speaking of just mentioning Kuzi, because she was on the most recent season of Big Brother, obviously. Were you familiar with her? Had you met her in passing or at all? Like, did you guys know each other?
Yes, I watched the season. We had never really talked or communicated, but I saw her night one, and before the game even started, I gave her a big hug, and I just felt so good with her. And I was like, Kuzi, I'm gonna go to the end with you in this thing. It was like me and you, like we had, and whenever we looked at each other, it was always yes. And we were locked in. Thank goodness she was a traitor. She really saved me in some of those early murders. Like, that was so lucky. Did I know she was a traitor? Not at the start, but she did start to come up my suspicion list because we were so close, but she didn't talk a lot of strategy with me. But even if I found out she was a traitor, I would have tried to ride with her to the end. There was no way I was ever going to turn on her. Like, I'm a big Kuzi fan. Did you see this commercial? We're on this commercial now together in Canada as well.
I'm in the US. I don't see it.
Oh, gotcha. We just filmed like a GG poker commercial. It was so good. Kuzi and I are really close, and like we're going to be friends for a very long time.
I love that. And I know you can't say obviously what happens, but Traitors, in terms of the difficulty of playing it, I'm assuming it's different. Big Brother, you're in there way longer. It's way more psychologically taxing. But like, was it hard, or did you mostly just have fun?
Oh my God. So Big Brother is intense, no doubt about it, and the environment is really intense. But like, after the veto ceremony, you have 2.5 days to chill. Like, you can find your bearings, you can get a good night of sleep. The Traitors, there was no room to breathe. The pace, I've never experienced anything like it. I loved it. The whole show was shot in 12 days. Did I have fun? Yes. But it was like a spinny ride at the circus. Like, I couldn't catch my bearings after the 4th, 5th day. I was absolutely sleep deprived. You can see me start to lose it on the show as well. Like, I slept a couple hours every night, and my brain was really starting to fail me. It felt like a circus ride about halfway through. And Sharon, I'm like, can I get off this thing? A little piece of I would never give up, but a little piece of my brain is like, I'm getting sick. And like, other people, like you can see on the show, Trevon basically quit. And as a byproduct of him quitting, people were like, okay, let's keep him around. Like Rick, he kind of tapped as well. People really, like, the intensity was real and the energy was dark, and a lot of people kind of wanted to bounce out of this thing. Like, it was so intense. The intensity was way more than Big Brother. It was shorter, faster, intenser, and almost nauseating in like a psychological thrill ride way. It was so cool. It was so fascinating. It really was.
Wow. Okay. So regardless, like, we don't know what's going to happen, but you would play Traitors again, possibly down the road.
Oh, down the road, man! I got so much from this show, and I feel like this will. I feel like this. I feel like I'm good in my reality TV career. I feel like I'm good. I got the win, character development, loud story arcs. There is one thing I will throw my hat in the ring always for this. Sharon, season 2 of the U.S. Traitors is filming right now. I think they just wrapped. Dan Giesling, Johnny Bananas. There is a tier above players. I think I'm good. I'm going to go after my poker career. If the opportunity ever came across my desk to go play with these legends, to go play with the best of the best, I would absolutely accept it. And I think that's the only show I would do in the future, because I'm good. I've done a ton of these things. But if that caliber of player, if those people, if I got an opportunity to play with those people, I would have to go test my skills and see how I would do. That would be so exciting.
If they did an all-winner season of Big Brother and invited some of the Canada winners, you have to do that. I'd have to. You can't say no to that.
Derek, or like Vanessa Rousseau, or like I would love to play with like Tony Vlatkos, or like Boston Rob, Parvati, Janelle. Like, there's a tier above me that I've never played with. And I'm sorry, like, our cast was awesome, but the caliber of play, there was a lot of inexperience. There's a lot of people who aren't used to strategy games. Like, give me a cast of the dogs, like the true, like I would just be like a kid in a Christmas candy store. They might get me right away. I might get in there. Who knows? It all could happen. But yeah, Dan Giesling, all these people, Sandra Diaz, like Twine, like, let me play with these people one time for sure.
I love it.
That'd be fun.
Happen. I do want to talk a little bit about Big Brother. You're not religiously watching Big Brother 25, right?
I see the storylines on Twitter. Some of my friends talk to me about it. I kind of get a sense of what's going on, but no, I haven't watched the episodes.
Yeah, it's a long season. I'm ready for it to wrap up.
Yeah, it's 100 days or something. Like, my goodness.
I know. I do want to ask just a couple, strategy general questions. Like, right now we have Matt and Jag,
yes,
basically winning everything to the end. We know that you won a lot toward the end.
Totally.
Do you think Big Brother needs to rethink these comps and make them a little bit more fair? Or do you think that's just the evolution of the game at this point?
No, they absolutely should. And I am an advocate for this as well. I abused the comps near the end of my season because I studied them, obsessed about them, practiced them, and really optimized them, I guess is the right word. So season 5 ends, I win, I go to production, we have a serious conversation where they're like, Kevin, like, goddamn, that was impressive what you did. You kind of exposed the system a little bit. We're going to make a conscious decision moving forward to reevaluate every competition and try to make it more fair, to try to level the playing field, more randomness, more fairness. And you could see that on Big Brother. For the next couple seasons, the competitions did slightly change, and it did feel like there were more toss-ups, random, which is great. I think when you walk into that backyard and you have a power up for grabs, everybody should have a chance in some way, for sure. Now, nobody really copied my strategy, and Big Brother Canada kind of fell back into like the old school comps, and you saw like Ty this last year kind of run the table or whatever. It's horrible for the show when somebody has massive win equity and wins all the competitions. As somebody who did it, I hate it. I would have probably cheered against me as well. I would love more social strategy in the comps, like more randomness. Like, I really think they have to take a look at it and try to level the playing field in every single situation, for sure, because it just destroys the show when like these people go on comp runs and it's like it's not fun to watch.
Yeah, and then becomes almost the only thing the jury talks about, or like
totally.
that weighs more than social game or strategy.
Yeah.
And it kind of just like is a little bit of a bummer.
Yeah. There's other ways to do it as well. Why not at the final 6? There's no more HOH. There's no more HOH. Nobody's HOH. You can vote for whoever you want, and there's one power of veto competition. You have one chance to save yourself. You know what I mean? Or something like that. Play with the format. 2 immunity comps every single week near the end game of Big Brother is too much. It's too much.
Yeah. Also, it's Big Brother Canada. You guys the HOH doesn't play veto, right? So like that's another thing like that we could probably change pretty easily that they haven't changed yet.
Totally.
I don't know. There's a lot of little things. I do want to talk about resumes a little bit as we approach the finale. The jury comes into play. You won unanimously. It looks like, what can players be doing right now, or what they should have already been doing to make sure they get the votes at the end in terms of jury management?
Ooh, interesting. I always thought people overvalued jury management because most people don't make it to the end. I think the priority should be making it to the end, and then at least you have a 50-50 of winning. My example, I always think, respect, passion. You don't want to blatantly suck up to the people you got eliminated, but from an emotional human perspective, I sat in the jury during season 3. It sucks. It sucks to be in the jury. It sucks. You're a loser. You lost, right? And I always think recognizing the person and what they did, and Sarah Hanlon did a good job with that with me. So I asked her a question, and she basically said, Kevin, we got you out because you're a good player. And that made me feel good. Yeah, that made me like it healed my loser heart a little bit. Yeah, I think just like respect. You want to be authentic and not lie to these people, but recognition of what they did in the game. The people in the jury want to feel like they had an impact in the game, so kind of leaning into that. But I wouldn't say
validate their feelings, just
totally,
like you do in a
exactly.
relationship.
100%. Yes. That's what I've learned in these games as well. It's really not about what people are thinking and the strategy. It's really what people are feeling as an emotional creature is way more important.
I agree. 100% agree. How much did you know? I know you watched Survivor, so how much are you familiar with Cirie? You watched the Traitor she won.
Oh, yes.
And what are you thinking overall, just based on what you've seen, how she's doing? I mean, she made it to Final 5.
This lady's a master. Her actual resume is so insane. Survivor, every time she played, she ran the tables to the end. She couldn't close it out. She had one early exit in Heroes versus Villains, I believe. But like if you were to do some analytics on these reality shows and actually create like stats for players, her consistent ability to get to the end as a big threat is unprecedented. She might be the greatest of all time. She might be. You can make an argument Tony won Survivor twice or whatever. She's a top 3 for sure. And she might be the GOAT, maybe. And I really hope she can close out Big Brother. You just have to like give her the applause. Like, I don't know how she does it. She's just incredibly social, and like her domination on the Traitors was so insane. There's a lot of bad players on her season, and she made them look silly. She was so far above everyone else. So like, I met Cirie one time in Vegas, and I just said hello quickly. I wish I talked to her more. I have nothing but respect for her.
Yeah, she's amazing. And sadly, I do think she's leaving tomorrow. I don't think there's much she can do. And that's kind of the other question I had is like, once that veto is played, or once the veto is not used, you're on the block, like you're down to Final 5. Like, what can you do if your fate is sealed?
Do you know what's crazy? I'm not the person to ask, Sharon. I played over 100 days of Big Brother Canada. I was never on the block after the veto ceremony. Never once. In over 100 days. I either pulled myself off or I got voted out in the triple eviction. I never had to campaign in my entire so I don't know. It's really tough. It's really, really tough. And I actually have no experience doing it. Usually at the Endgame, is a little bit tough. Like, is there any reason for them to keep Cirie? Who's she on the block with?
Felicia.
Miss Felicia. Oh man, she's funny. I've seen a lot of her.
She's great.
What a great cast she is. God, it's almost like they needed a comp beast with them to manage the end game. They needed somebody on their side to go and win these things.
Yeah, Cirie had Matt, but he's I think closer to Jag at this point, so it's not looking good. But how would you approach Cirie if you were a first-time BB player? You walk in, you know who she is. What's the move? Is it befriend her? Is it get her out?
You got to befriend her immediately, but I think you have to take her out at some point. Like, you have to, it's one of those things where you need to keep the big threats close to you, but at some point you got to lead a charge and get her out. I'm always shocked that nobody got her out. Like, it's just so crazy with the status she has, and she's played a million reality shows. It's very, very impressive.
It's almost like worse that she's going out now at Final 5. I'd rather have gone out already.
Yeah,
she's a threat, or just win. I don't know. It's tough. This is like a tough time to go out.
Yeah, but also like Big Brother fandom, like you got this amazing, this is reality TV. It isn't scripted, and the Taylor win was just last year. What an amazing, exactly. Okay, okay, you guys are fine. Stop crying. I see you on Twitter. You guys just got this amazing result last year that was it almost felt scripted. It was so perfect. You can't have it all. Reality TV, sometimes you need the bad storylines to take place.
Yeah, that's true. Good point. The other thing I want to talk about is, Jag. He was voted out unanimously earlier in the game.
Yes,
came back through this.
I hate that. I hate when they bring players back.
We have to talk about this. If he's sitting in the final 2, and you're on the jury, can you award this guy a win, or or you're because he's winning everything, so he has comp wins, but he's also been voted out. And then if I'm sitting next to him, of course, I'm going to be like, this guy has been voted out of the game. I've never been voted out.
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
I don't know.
Yeah. I hate when you're voted out of a reality show. I remember watching Survivor as a kid, and the torch snuff was so final. It's this person has died. Their life is dead in the game. And it's just when that comes back, when you reverse that decision, I've never liked it. I think it slows down the game. I think it bogs down the storylines. We see him again or whatever. To me, it has never paid off, and I don't understand why they continue to do it. And as a jury member, he would have to basically go perfect. He would have to be the perfect player upon his return for me to consider voting for him. Because it's just you're voted out, bro. I don't know why the producers continue to make those decisions.
I don't know either. But so if you're sitting next to someone who has been voted out,
yeah,
what's the speech?
Yeah, you have to say, hey guys, this guy lost. I haven't lost the game yet. He lost. Like I would like almost like I would really lean into that for sure every single time. So who do you think is going to win the season? Who has the best chance right now?
I think it's Jag. I mean, he's been winning every comp. It seems like he doesn't want to sit next to Matt, which is a smart move. He should sit next to Bowie, but
totally.
I don't know. I think it's kind of a done deal.
Oh, I see this. The Twitter just hate on Bowie Jane so hard.
I mean,
exactly. When an inactive player doesn't do anything and helps like the unpopular people win, it's just so frustrating. It's like, what are you doing? What's your plan to win? You know what I mean? Yeah.
And there's the layer of like, she's a woman and she's like going with the two guys. And so the other two women. So there's like that layer of it that people don't love. This is a lot with Bowie Jane.
Because the preseason, people were saying this is the best preseason ever. Like people were just living for the season. And then, boy, how times can turn.
We can't always have nice things,
Yeah.
But in terms of just like your season, people might know this, but like, who do you talk to the most? Are you still close with people from your seasons?
Oh, after everything that's gone on in my life, I reconnected with Ika recently. I always send Dimitri's text. This guy's a killer, man. He's like just making bank in the Toronto real estate scene. He's just a winner, and I love winners. I love powerful people, and I love successful people. Connected with Karen again recently. I mean, Bruno's my guy. He's one of my best friends, for life, and I'm friendly with everyone. I would love to see everybody. On the Traitors, I'm hanging out with Rick Campanelli tonight. Do you know this guy, Rick the 10th?
No.
Okay, he's huge in Canada. He's like, and when I showed up to the house, everyone was fangirling. He's like the biggest celebrity there. I'm like, who is this guy? Much music video DJ. My parents never turned on that channel.
That's like your MTV, right?
Exactly. Okay. Yeah, totally. So I'm excited. I'm friendly with all of them. Am I close and talk to everyone all the time? No, rarely not. But yeah, well, it's tough to explain when you go and shoot one of these shows. It's so intense. And the highs are so high, the lows are so low. You really feel bonded with these people. It's almost going to battle in a way. And then you come home and you're like, wow, we just like, it's a mutual experience that nobody else will understand. It is a very tight bond.
Actually, and speaking of that, when you got to the Traitors, how many people actually watched your seasons of Big Brother and like really knew your game?
Most of them had heard of me, recognized me. In terms of hardcore fans, there was only a small handful. I'd say five or six of them. But boy, they were quick to talk about it. It was funny. People were more scared about the poker, Sharon, than they were about the Big Brother win. People are like, poker player. They talked about poker's been featured on the Traitors like so much that word has been said so much on the show that they were really scared of that. They were really terrified. Colin and everybody. So it was an uphill battle, but I was really, proud of how I managed the preseason. And again, they don't show the social dynamics. Like I really connected with these people. I was in lockstep with a lot of them. And they really like valued me in the game, and Gerline and Leroy and Crystal and Kuzi and Fierce, Erica, like, even like the other people as well. Like I had social connections. I really did. I was so happy about it.
Yeah, I guess that's the product of also like having 20 people on this hour show. You can't show everyone.
Yeah, I know. Hard. I know. I wish there was more time to breathe. I wish there was 90-minute episodes for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever been like approached about other shows, or you want to go? I know you mentioned maybe Big Brother, like maybe something else, but what about like The Mole or Survivor or something like that?
Oh, so Survivor is a tough one. The Challenge is another one that really kind of gets my blood going, because it's a combination of like physical, mental, and I really am a physical competitor as well. The Challenge, The Challenge talked to a lot of Canadians a couple years ago. They did some casting calls. I don't know if I should say this, but whatever. And they never put any Canadians on. At some point they will. For sure. And whether they call my number or not, I'm not sure. The format, the game, The Mole's really interesting. I just really want to play with those legends. I really want to walk in and like that's whatever format. Tell me the format, I'm good. I'll go ahead and have fun. But oh man, I just like an international all stars of Big Brother or something. Can you imagine? Take the best from every franchise. Just a couple people from Canada, a couple people from the US, a couple people from Australia. Like, let's go, let's play.
Yeah, that actually might be better because we don't have that many great winners. I mean, a lot of them are MIA. I feel like some of the
totally
winners.
Yeah.
I mean, I would know I tried because I've been talking to all of them. But yeah, that would be fun. And then you said Survivor, no?
Survivor, oh man, that one just scares me. That was the one I wanted as a kid. That was the one that captured my attention when I was 15. So I watched one episode of Survivor when I was 15, Sharon, and like primally the adventure, the competition, it captured me. And when I was 15, I watched an episode and I was just so captivated. I went to my journal and I wrote down goals for my life. And right at the top of my list was get on and win a reality television show. It inspired me that much. And like, I actually had a plan when I was like 21, I was going to move to the States, get dual citizenship, apply to be on Survivor. Like I saw this path for me.
Wow.
Yeah, I was really committed. And then like I tried to manifest it. And then Big Brother Canada came and it was pretty cool that like as a 15-year-old, I wrote this down. And then 10 years later as a 25-year-old, I literally accomplished my dream. Like it's pretty cool. Talk about the power of manifestation. Survivor's intense, but the money like that, it's $1 million. It's $1 million. You know, you would have to.
How has Big Brother not been higher? I mean, I know definitely in Canada, but it's just
Big Brother Canada. It's if you win Big Brother Canada, it's like 65,000 USD. You know what I mean? It's like it's cool, but it's the money is cheap. It's cheap. You're cheap. Come on, Canadian reality shows. Like, let's go. Let's up it. At least $250,000. I'm sorry for what we go through to compete in these shows.
Yeah, the psychological torture almost of being in that house for so long. I don't know. You mentioned though you like these big players. I'm curious to know like who are the GOATs to you in terms of like best winner?
Vanessa Rousseau didn't win, but she was masterful, and I cheered for her because she was a poker player as well. Tony Vlachos is an all-time favorite winner. I mean, I'm a huge Survivor fan. What are other good winners? Sandra is obviously an absolute legend. Boston Rob, I'm friends with Boston Rob a little bit in the poker world. I don't think he's like the best player of all time, but he got the W as well. I love Tyson Apostle as well. Oh my God, Tyson's so funny. He's so funny. You know, I'm really close with Adam Klein as well. He's one of my good friends. I loved his win and his story for his win. A lot of the recent Survivor winners. Shout out Michelle Fitzgerald, also a big fan. I really liked Cassidy. She almost won. She was really strong. Denise Stapley, like I don't know, like these winners, I respect the winners a lot. Jeremy as well is another guy I really enjoyed. It's tough to win, and so something to be said for these people that really get over the finish line and get the W.
Yeah, what was the season that like got you into Survivor? Because I like distinctly remember mine was Palau, I think.
Oh my God, mine was Palau as well. As a family, we turned on an episode and it was preseason Palau, and then Stephanie had a great story arc, and then Tom Westman won. And Ian stepped off that buoy in the final three. I was like, what is this show? This is insane.
That's so funny. That's literally mine. That like got me into Survivor really.
Totally. And then those early teens, like it was like Guatemala, Survivor China, and then Russell Hantz comes in like Survivor, like season 19 or whatever. I was so captivated with the show back then.
Wow, amazing. All right, so we got to see you on Survivor.
Maybe. I'm open. I'm open. I'm chilling right now. I'm still like, we filmed the Traitors like 3 months ago, and that was a shocking, really tight turnaround. Maybe they could have used a few extra months to edit it a little tighter, honestly. So I'm sorry. I say it like it is, Sharon. It is just how I operate.
I love the honesty.
Yeah. So I'm still like chilling a little bit, but you know, my juices will get flowing in the future, and I'm always down for opportunities. The Amazing Race is another one that I've really looked at. There's just so many different shows going on. What's this Netflix Squid Games? I don't know what it is, but I saw the 4.6 mil ball. I would like to play for 4.6 million, please.
I saw, is Figgy on it from Survivor?
Figgy, and then there's another guy named Dash who competed in the YouTube series Sequester. You see this show?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I used to watch that. It was Audrey created it or whatever.
Yeah.
And obviously it's like really like low level production, but they did their best. But the game mechanics on that show were really fun. They were really fun. It was all social strategy. It was so cool.
Yeah, I watched a few seasons of that. It was fun.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah, I don't know what the Squid Games thing is. Maybe I'll check it out. I'm not really familiar with it.
$4.6 million. Holy. I have a new show coming out right away as well. There was a poker reality TV show that was shot in South Korea. We filmed this over a year ago, and finally it's coming out. It was 16 poker players. Competition. It was funny. I'll tell you this. So it was day number 1 of this competition. I'm first one on the set, Sharon. And I'm like thinking like, this is a reality show. I'm like throwing the chairs around. I'm like hunting for immunity idols on this set. And like production's laughing at me because I'm literally looking for like a special advantage. And then like after 30 minutes, they're just like, no, it's just actually a poker show. Like there's it was so funny. But that was really cool. It was 16 people and it was $500,000 for first. So that one, guys, look for that one coming out soon too.
Yeah. When is it going to air over here? Like, how does this work?
I think they were in talks with getting it on a streaming service, but I think it's just going to land on YouTube. But if you're a poker fan, a reality TV fan, it's worth checking out. The Game of Gold, I think, is dropping in like a week or something.
Wow. And that was a perfect segue because I was going to ask you if you have anything coming up.
Yeah. So that's coming up. And then, just man, like, so the poker world's booming right now, Sharon. Like there's so much money, interest, and obviously I'm financially motivated, but I have many other goals besides money. I just want to create a wake of goodness in the poker world. I'm like playing tournaments. I do coaching. I travel the world. I win and lose big amounts of money. And I'm trying to show that the poker industry is valid and a beautiful space to either be passionate about it or, thankfully, I'm going to say after a reality show, a divorce, and some chaos, things are settling down a little bit. I need a little bit of peace. Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of poker, though, you're right. Like even on Survivor, there was that like threat of a poker alliance. Like, how well do poker players? Do we know the stats on this? How well they do on shows?
Survivor, horrible. John Robert, horrible. Garrett, horrible. Anna Kate, pretty bad. She got screwed by a twist. Like poker players on Survivor for some reason, like Garrett Adelson was so bad. Do you know this guy's a legend? Do you remember Garrett Adelson on Survivor?
Yeah. Tony's season and Spencer's season. I'm trying to
Cagayan. Garrett is an absolute legend in the poker world. He's done so well. Like and then he flopped so hard on Survivor. But for some reason on Big Brother, we like Vanessa and I did really good job, on Big Brother. So there's a bit of a disconnect there. But God, like poker players were so strategic, but often the nuance, the social part of the game is where we can struggle sometimes because we're like strategy nerds,
Yeah, but I'm assuming you have to be able to read people pretty well. No,
totally. Yeah, absolutely. And reading their energies. Yes, absolutely. It's a huge part of the game for sure.
Yeah. Well, Kevin, as we wrap up, I always ask my guests, and if you don't have something, that's totally fine, to maybe give us a story or something we might not know about your time from reality TV or casting or even just experience wise. Do you have anything to share?
Yeah. The exclusive. Yeah, I have lots of things to share. Where should we go with this? Okay, I want to say this. This was crazy. This was crazy on the Traitors, and this is an exclusive.
Yes.
Okay. So, do you remember how Kuzi got the shield?
Yes.
Do you remember this? There's a little bit of backstory. So, I was the first person in the armory all season. We win that airplay challenge. Red team is going to the armory. I walk in first, and of course, I play it up for the cameras. There's 7 boxes. I look for fingerprints. I kind of scope around the room. I was like, maybe I can shark this or whatever. And I'm like, wait. I study the boxes, and out of this one box, Sharon, there is a red light pulsing in this box. A physical red light is leaking out of this box. And I'm like, oh my God, I think the shield is there. I take a step back and I'm like, should I just grab it? Do I you know what I mean? And I kind of balked, and then I was kind of like, production. Sure enough, they rush in. Oh my God, Kevin, they had a red light on the shield as part of the effect, but it was leaking out of the box. It was totally giving away where it was. So Kevin, thank God you went first. We're going to reset this. This is a security issue. So they send me out. They take an hour to reset, right? So I go back in. Okay, obviously the light is gone. I don't get the shield. But I told the red team about this. When Kuzi goes in, She said she closed her eyes and visualized the boxes. And out of one of the boxes, she literally in her brain saw a red light out in one of the boxes. Her mind saw a red light. She went, grabbed it, and she got the shield. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that nuts? So it's like a little behind the scenes, like I should have fucking just grabbed the box.
Yeah, Kevin.
I cheated.
I mean, you don't want that in your brain forever, but like that's pretty admirable of you.
I really had a moral dilemma of like, ooh, what should I do here? But it screwed us so bad. Kuzi getting that shield as a traitor was very unlucky, because they started targeting the red team. That was kind of a cool little behind the scenes. There's so many little behind the scenes like that, What else can I say from the traitors? A more exclusive stuff that people want to know.
I love that.
Oh yeah, like there's like a game off, game on concept on the traitors that people don't know about. Like when you're in the show, when the cameras are there, you can talk about game, but then the cameras leave and they're like, no talking game. And you're not supposed to. It's like, you're supposed to talk about whatever, but like there's a skill where you can kind of like still communicate with your allies. So there's like a game within a game that's really interesting. Man. One other thing I got to say about, there was some voodoo. There was some intense shit going on in that house in Montreal. It was filmed in Montreal. We filmed at the start of August. I kid you not, Sharon. First day, pulls up. You can see we get off the boat. Everyone's like so happy. The energy is great. We're like drinking wine, laughing or whatever. And then I kid you not, as soon as the traitors were picked, in a spooky way, the weather system changed. As soon as the traitors were picked, like dark clouds rolled over the sky. And it was like, oh, wow. It was like as if the weather system was matching the game in this like weird way. And then sure enough, as Melissa is like, we're voting out Melissa B and like she's crying, she's begging for her life. It started raining and there was like a crazy thunderstorm. Again, weird stuff was going on there. Like this show was really trippy.
Was it interesting to see like the people who've never been on TV like adapt to the cameras? Because you obviously are more used to cameras.
Totally, yeah. I'd say a bunch of them were game and did adapt and started playing and started being characters, but there was a number of them that was just overwhelmed and they kind of just like, I'm not going to do this. Like Dominic's my guy, but there's a reason we're not getting any Dominic on the show. Like he literally sat outside and chain smoked cigarettes. And every time I tried to go play with him, he's like, this game's just not really for me. He's like this Italian guy, like he's just like, bro, I just don't know what I'm doing here. And I told him, I was like, Dominic, like this is a once in a life opportunity for you to be on this show. And I'm telling you, bro, I was like, if you don't play and you just sit here, you're going to regret it. And I mean, there's a reason he's not on the show for sure. Man. Yeah. I could ramble about this forever. It's so fun.
No, it's cool. And one other thing you brought up that I thought was interesting is the metagame of it all. Because even on Big Brother, like when I talk to people, it's like, who goes in to vote first? What's the voting order?
Totally.
Like the little stuff like that other people might not pick up on. How much when you go on these shows are you looking at that stuff?
Totally. Especially the traitors, the breakfast order of the entrance, the vote. So you're all sitting around the round table. You all vote and Karine will say, all right, May, read your vote first. And that's very revealing as well. There's lots of little nuances like this. And you have to pay attention to every little single thing for sure. Like, okay, we got out Mel B. She's a female non-reality star. Okay, there's probably a male reality star that is a traitor. We should look in that direction. Turned out to be Mike. I was really suspicious of Mike and Mickey. But yeah, so you got to pay attention to these things. If you guys are going on the Traitors ever to play this game, do some study as the faithfuls and try to be the Traitor's pet. I think is a good way to go for sure. That's
some good advice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Kevin. Is there anything else that we didn't cover? I feel like
my goodness. No, I think we covered so much here. Thank you so much for having me on. It was really cool. And I hope I stayed spoiler free. I tried my best. It's kind of tough, but people are loving the season. I hope it gets picked up outside of Canada. It's kind of tough to watch the show outside of Canada.
Yeah.
Check out the Traitors Canada, you guys. It's a really entertaining show. It's a wild ride in there.
I love it. Well, thank you, Kevin, and so much for joining me. For my listeners, please like, subscribe. I will be back Friday with an exit interview. I guess my last one. I don't even know where we are at this point in Big Brother, but yeah, I'll talk to you guys then.
Bye.